Hey, Real Estate Rockstars, it's your coach Borino. We are coming to you live from Borino headquarters, but I am not really sure if you guys can hear me, so I'm going to test it. Like I said, this is a new platform we're testing, and I want to make sure you guys can hear us, can see us. So let's see here. Borino. Okay. Are live, coming sure. Looks like it's working. That's pretty cool. This is a new service. You know, I'm not new. I mean, they've been around for a little while, but they're just implementing this whole Facebook live broadcast where I can bring guests and we can talk and we can chat and we can have a good time. So looks like you guys can hear me. Now let's see if I can bring my man Jason in. Hey, Jason, can you hear us? Can you hear me? Can you hear my audio? All right, looks like Jason doesn't hear us. Like I said, we gotta work this out. We gotta figure out how I can bring people and we can have an interview and talk. All right. Bear with us. It looks like we see Jason, the Mr. Handsome over there, but there is no audio. You guys can hear my audio, right? All right. Well, James says I look good. Well, that's cool. Thanks for that, James. Okay. So we still don't have his feed. We still don't have his audio. Mine is. You guys can hear me, but he cannot hear me or see me. All right. So Jason's going to restart, and just please bear with us. This is our first test of this platform, so we'll see how well this is going to work.
Hey, man.
Oh, now we can hear you. Awesome.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, it was my fault. I had this. I didn't have my audio turned on.
All right, guys, blame it on Jason then, please. Send him nasty, post nude pictures on his wall on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm sitting here going, what is going on?
Yeah.
Then I hit the back button and said, oh shit, I gotta turn on my microphone.
That helps. The audio is much better when the mic on. You look better with your camera on.
It was my fault.
My favorite one was, I was doing a big webinar. Tons of people. We had like 1,500 people on it. Huge broadcast. And for about 17 minutes, I had my mic mute. I was just taking a sip of my tea, and I wear my lav, and it has a little mute button, and I flipped it, never turned it back on. So for 17 minutes, I very entertainingly talked to myself. That was a lot of fun. Jason, my man, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a while since you and I
appreciate you having me.
Had fun together, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about you the other day, and then you sent me a message through Facebook, and I always enjoy talking with you, man. I clipped out. I think you probably seen. I clipped out your story not long ago and posted it to my Facebook. I thought that was an amazing story you have just about your life and the business and all that stuff. So, yeah. So today we're talking about how to get listings in a tough market.
We're going to talk about this crazy spring market. We're going to talk about how to get up and running, how to get going, how to survive, because it's in many pockets pretty crazy right now, pretty competitive. So we'll talk about it. Kathy is here. Hey, Kathy, good to have you. Welcome, everybody. And Zach is saying hello to my man, Jason. Nice to have you. And Deborah saying all is good. Audio is good. Welcome, you guys. Lovely to have everybody. Miss Pat is checking in. Glenda says, I can hear you. There it is. Welcome, guys. So that's what we're going to talk about. I have some notes, and I know Jason, just from experience, this guy is crushing it. Jason, what do you think you're going to do this year? How many listings do you think you're going to do this year? Or transactions? What do you expect to do?
Oh, man, how many listings? It's hard to say, like, how many listings I'm going to do. But you know what? I'm pretty consistently getting about 3 or 4 weeks. You know what? I'd like to close like pretty. So yeah, if I close 80, I'm pretty happy with that number.
80 transactions. So you guys, the reason I'm asking this is because I want you to take advice from people who are actually doing it and doing it well.
Now, and
don't trust the friends because they tell you stuff. Don't trust skinny chefs. Jason is out there hustling every day, so he's a good, reliable source of advice and information.
Yeah, and this is personal production. This isn't like team transactions and buyer agents and stuff. This is me, Jason Morris, closing these deals. So,
Nice.
and you know what? I've kind of learned in the past. That's like a comfortable pace for me. That I'm not killing myself, and I can still do things like do this webinar with you and write another book and do things that I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But our market is so crazy right now. I'll tell you this quick story on how insane it is. So I listed a property day. Well, I listed two properties day before yesterday. I put both of them on MLS like 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And by that night, I already had showings scheduled on both of them. And now I'm not in California or Denver, Colorado, or one of these like insane markets. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and our market's steady, but it's not like insane.
Yeah.
But man, one of these houses has already been shown. I think by the end of today, I will have over 20 showings on it.
Wow.
And I mean, it's the roof needs to be replaced. I mean, it's a good deal, but it needs a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but then I hear about these other agents that are in markets, and the first day they're not getting 20 showings, they're getting 20 offers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's absolutely, and I used to be in one of those markets, back in 06, 07, the Myrtle Beach market was like that. I mean, we were selling out condo buildings in, 6 hours and stuff like that.
Wow.
So,
well, it is pretty crazy out there. So I wanted to chat with you, and thank you for the nice comments, you guys. Steve wanted to say thank you for putting it together. Liz says I'm on the fence. So we're going to talk about it. What do you do right now? Because there's a shortage of listings. You don't have 50, 100 expireds every day. FSBOs are selling on their own. There's a bunch of buyers, a dime a dozen. Any even piece of shit property is going to get offers these days. Sellers think they own castles. How do you survive? How do you make it work? So we have some notes, and we're just going to throw them at you. A lot of stuff. Maybe not everything will be 100% applicable to you, but I guarantee you that by the time we wrap up today, you're going to walk away with some practical tips you can implement right now that are working right now. Cool? Yeah? All right. Hey, Pedagay. Nice to have you. Welcome. All right, guys. So I have some notes that I wanted to go over. This will help you. And Jason, please just chime in. We don't have like a set presentation, fancy presentation. There's going to be no big pitch or a sale at the end. You should be a member of Jason's group. You should definitely read his book. You should definitely be part of his coaching. You should get my system. That's just going to make your life easier. But other than that, let's talk practical stuff. So my first suggestion, and where you need to start to make it in this very competitive and difficult, challenging market, is make a plan. Make a simple plan. Now, I'm a believer in fast, simple, and cheap. Anybody can make money as a real estate agent if you have $10,000 a month to spend on marketing and advertising. There's no science to it. It's just budget. But most of you, if you're like me, I'm pretty cheap when it comes to wasting money on marketing. You want to keep it simple, affordable, and easy to implement and effective. So start with that. Make a simple plan. Now, don't overthink it. I'm not talking like these big, complicated, complex business plans that are 7 pages long and incorporate all kinds of details that you either don't know or don't care about. So keep it really simple, but start with one simple thing. How much money you're going to make this year, how many closings it's going to take, how many listings it's going to take, how many appointments to get those listings it's going to take, and how many leads. You need to know those numbers because it's just like a roadmap. You need to know, this is where I am, here's where I'm going. Where a lot of your stress and overwhelming and confusion comes from is you don't have a clue. You're just kind of shooting off the hip. And the reason I know that is because that's exactly how I used to run my business as well. And that's where the stress comes from. That's where the overwhelmment. And then you get this email saying, oh, this brand new shiny thing will get you this brand new system. What's that?
Yeah.
Right? We all get those emails. And then you're running in 100 different directions. So now
exactly.
Get focused.
Yeah.
Listings, how many listings it's going to take, how much money you're going to make, how are you going to get there. Break it down. Listings, appointments, leads. And that's what you focus on, but start with a simple plan. Now, this is not a lip service. Please really do this because I guarantee you it's going to take you 30 minutes, maybe an hour at the most. But now you have a roadmap. Now you're not just wondering where to turn and where am I going and how am I going to get there. You have something. It's not going to be perfect and it's going to change, and that's fine. But you got to start somewhere. You got to have at least some kind of a blueprint is what is it that you're building and where you're going and how in the world are you going to get there. Because I guarantee you all those people doing well have at least some kind of an idea. Now, again, we're not talking like this elaborate step-by-step 17-point thing, but just a general idea this is where my business is going to come from, and here's how I'm going to get it. Because if you're hoping it's going to come to you, you're sadly mistaken. You're setting yourself for a big failure. It's going to require active participation on your part. Jason, do you agree with that? Do you have like a basic concept, a plan in place that you follow?
Oh man, I agree. I agree with that whole thing. Yeah, my plan is I want to go out. I want to consistently take 4 listings a week. So that's what my plan is. But you know what? I see where most agents like, yeah, I want to take 4 a week. My market. I'm not in $1 million market either. So I'm in a market that's, $150,000, $200,000 market. So, but what I see with a lot of agents is, like you said, they don't have any plan. They have no roadmap. And then when they get a lead, they don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So some of them will sit there when they drive by like that for sale by owner sign, they write down the number, then it sits in their notebook 30 days while they contemplate calling and if the person's going to be overpriced and all these scenarios in their head that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And most agents don't have a real follow-up plan either. They take the average agent to call somebody. What they typically do is say they call somebody today, it's Friday. Person tells them on the phone, they have a fantastic, meaningful conversation with that person. The person tells them, yeah, Borino, I really like what you got to tell me. Yeah, I'd like to meet with you.
Yeah.
But I'm really busy this weekend. Can you give me a call Wednesday? And what happens is that agent just takes and says, oh, okay, sounds great. And they just wait until Wednesday to call them back. Now, in the meantime, that person's probably put it out on Craigslist. More agents have driven by their house, who knows what's happened, and they've talked to 10 agents by the time Wednesday gets here, and they don't even remember your name, So, and I think that's what most agents do. They just don't have a follow-up plan, and I really believe that's where I'm succeeding. Is my follow-up plan. I mean, man, when I talk to you about selling your house, I'm sending you my pre-listing package, like sometimes while we're on the phone still. Then I'm sending you a text going, hey, Borino, did you get it? Did you get my email? And then I'm calling you the next day going, hey, Borino, this is Jason Morris. Just wanted to make sure you got my listing package. Did you look through it? Do you have any questions? Oh, that's fantastic. Then I go ahead and try to set another appointment. And then I call. Lots of times I'll call them every day until Wednesday.
Wow.
With just something else. Hey, Borino, you know what? I was doing some research for a buyer. I was looking around in your community. Man, I know you said you wanted 150 for your house, and I feel like we can get you that, or I feel like we can get you that in your pocket, or, I think here lately I can get you more than that, which is a good feeling when you're having that conversation versus, oh, Jesus, you want 150 and I can only get you like 115. Yeah. So by the time Wednesday gets here, they've talked to me like 5-6 times, sometimes between emails, text, phone calls, where the average agent out there, they may never even call them Wednesday, So I really feel like that's where I'm succeeding.
So what you're saying is
I feel like agents are forgetting
follow up with the
lead sources out there.
Right? You bump up the intensity because every lead is now golden.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, intensive, deliberate follow-up. Yep.
Yeah. That is excellent.
Every lead is gold because you know what? Even if they're 10% overpriced, let's talk about this for a second. Let's say their house is worth 150, but really to get what they need for it and everything, they need to put it on the market today for 165, right? So 165, it's overpriced, but you sign a 3-month listing agreement. Like today, I'll sign 90-day listing agreements and be excited about getting them, But typically, 3 to 6 months. So we sign a 3-month listing agreement. 2 to 4 weeks go by, we're not getting any showings. Maybe we can price reduce them $5,000. Maybe the cheaper ones have sold and the neighborhood's kind of bumped up a little bit. And in 30 to 60 days, that 10% overpriced listing in 30 to 60 days is going to be priced right.
The market will
the way the market's going. So, I mean, in some of these markets, man, that $150,000 listing, man, you can list it for $175, and as long as your listing agreement's long enough, especially in the summer, that house will probably sell for $175. So I think as an agent, now I know the big discussion always is do you take an overpriced listing? I think we got to ask a business question to ourselves. What's the best place for a sign in today's market? In the trunk of my car or in their front yard? And in the front yard wins out every time for me. So even if I got to list it a little bit higher than where I think it's worth, man, I think you should take every one of those. Yeah, and don't hesitate, be ecstatic about getting them, because
you're making a great point. There is one part to it. There is an overpriced listing, and there's a listing priced high where you know you're going to sell. Those are two different things. So I agree with you. Maybe you suggest 160, but you know, even at 170, we still have a good chance of getting the sucker sold. That's still a good listing. Those are two very different things. I love that. Very cool. Yeah. All right.
Sure.
Jason,
you look at the active listings about your
CRM. What CRM do you use? Do you use any CRM? How do you follow up with people?
Yeah. You know what? I use RedX for my for sale by owners and expireds and that sort of stuff, and I use their Vortex system for a lot of my follow up with those. Now, when I get somebody that's like a hot lead that I talk to, right? I don't leave them in my CRM. I print it out. It's in a stack on my desk. I'd show you guys my desk, but it's embarrassing. But when I get somebody that's a hot lead, I print them out now. Because you know what? That person, I don't want it to get lost in my CRM or get lost. Hey, I didn't check the follow-up button. You know, I didn't hit the little follow-up check mark, and it gets lost. So, man, I don't leave that by chance. I print them out immediately when I hang up the phone with them, and then I start making notes on that follow-up. So, here lately, I used Realty Juggler for a while. I need a little bit more features. I've switched to Zoho, but typically for most of my leads, I'm just using that Vortex system that's in RedX.
And at 80 deals, that seems to be working pretty well for you. That is awesome. So what I would recommend, guys, as far as systems, and that's really the second thing on my list.
Yeah, that works well.
Once you have the plan in place, turn on some systems that will make your work more efficient, that will get you better data, and that will help you keep in touch with your people. So the first system I would recommend is get something that will aggregate your leads. A system like Espresso Agent or RedX or Landvoice or Vulcan that will get you the expireds and FISBOs you're going to need to start feeding your pipeline. That's the first one. And the second one, organize a follow-up in some way, whether it's using the RedX built-in system that they have in the upgrade module, or you're going to use Lion Desk, Realty Juggler, Top Producer. Pick one and just use it. There are 15, 20 you can select from based on your budget and based on your skills. Just pick one, start using it. They all will do what you need it to do, which is to keep in touch consistently with your leads. Now, you can use Jason's simple system. I believe it's easier to hand it off to an assistant, some of that stuff, that can be automated. Because now you have more time and more resources that you can put into generating leads. But have something in place that will help you keep this organized and keep you going. Because if you have 5, 10 leads, you can do that with Excel spreadsheet or index cards. But as you start ramping this up, you get 100, 150 leads on your follow-up system, somebody who's going to move in the next 6 months. You're going to have a better organized system. Otherwise, you're going to be losing a lot of business.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah?
You know, the immediate ones that I think are going to list in the next 30 days, man, we're not going to get a whole lot of those. So typically the ones that I feel like in my market right now, the ones I have a meaningful conversation with, and I'm like, hey, this person, I can list their house soon, you know, next 2 to 3 weeks. We don't have a lot of those, you know, and those are the ones I'm printing out. Those are the ones sitting in a stack on my desk, and the ones that are in my notepad, you know. And yeah, man, I don't let go of those.
Yeah, and I love the fact how often you follow up. But here's the secret to Jason's follow-up, and I really like the approaches. Every conversation builds more connection with the seller, number one. Number two, provides something of value. He's not just calling, hey, just wanted to remind you of an appointment. Are you ready to list? He offers something interesting of value, and he repositions yourself away from the average agent who either doesn't call at all, or if he calls, it's a basic standard follow-up sales calls that's nothing but annoyance to the seller. Where with Jason, it's a conversation, and it's conversation about something that's interesting and matters to the seller. Well done.
Oh yeah, man. It's, you know what? Even the net sheet, I'll send my net sheet beforehand. And for you guys that are not using a net sheet, man, when you start using a net sheet, it's going to eliminate a lot of commission objections that you get, and, you know, focusing the conversation on what you want rather than what we want as an agent. You know, everybody knows what we want. We want to get paid, you know, but focusing the conversation on, Borino, what do you want for your house? What do you want to get out of this transaction? What can I help you do? And then focus on, you know, yourself on your net sheet, you know. That's what I typically do. And that net sheet will help you overcome a lot of commission objections and a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
That you've got.
Yeah, very cool.
But every follow-up's with a purpose. It's not a follow-up going, hey, list with me.
Yeah, yeah. Mary had a question. If you're a new agent and we don't have previous stats, how do you formulate this? That's a really good question, Mary. Start somewhere. It's going to take a certain number of leads to get an appointment. It's going to take maybe 1 or 2 appointments to get a listing. And it's going to take a certain number of listings to get to your goal. So start somewhere. Rule of thumb, start with the number 10. That's a good place to start. 10 leads will result in an appointment. You're going to need probably twice as many appointments to get X number of listings. So you're going to multiply it by 2. So 10 leads, 1 appointment. 2 appointments, 1 listing. So work it that way and then track it for the next few weeks and see where you are, and then you start adjusting the plan. That's a really good question. I have a next point for you because I know I promised you 12, so we're going to go through these.
Yep.
Probably get a lot more than that. We already got probably quite a few. So my next point is be aware that there is business out there. We so often get caught up into this, well, market this, the economy that, the world this. There is plenty of business. NAR's latest stats are 5.6 million transactions closed this year. That means about 630 transactions closed every hour. There's plenty of business around you. What you want to know is there business in my area? Are there homes being listed in my area? If the answer is yes, then all you need to do is figure out a simple system to start getting those leads. That's all you got to focus on. There's business around you. There's money to be made. There are sellers who need your help. Just look in the MLS. And if you see the evidence, then it's a matter of how do I approach them? First, where do I find them?
Oh, yeah.
How do I approach them? Those are the 2 questions you got to keep asking. But don't buy into this whole economy, agents, business, scarcity mentality, because that's going to kill you. It's going to take away the fun from the work, you know what I mean? And if you don't enjoy it, what's the point of the struggle? I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying you can still enjoy it, number 1. And number 2, if you go with the mindset of scarcity, there is no way in the world you can do like Jason, 80 deals, 100 deals, 150, 200 or more every year. It's impossible. Your mind would not let you.
Yeah,
right?
It's mindset.
Mindset, yeah, totally.
You know what? You're talking about scarcity. I believe that a lot of agents, or us as agents, we forget about certain lead sources when the market gets hot. Like,
what do you mean?
For example, like pre-foreclosures, right? You guys are out in California. Your market is on fire, you know. So you don't think like, hey, there's pre-foreclosures out there, but at the same time, you know what? There's people that are having problems right now, that are having financial problems, health problems, only God knows what, that they are missing payments on their house. So, I mean, those are leads out there that are valid, and a lot of agents are passing them by. I mean, you know, that's something that I've been adding to what I'm doing because, hey, if you miss 2 or 3 payments, 4 payments, the chances of you getting caught up are pretty slim. So more than likely somebody's going to sell your house, whether it's you or the bank, you know. I think agents are forgetting about those. I think agents are forgetting about for rent by owners because the rental market's so crazy everywhere. So nobody ever calls them. And for rent by owners is the same thing, you know. You're playing a waiting game and you're following up with the people, you know, on a monthly, you know, bi-monthly basis until they start having a tenant problem, until they become a tired landlord, you know. And a lot of us as agents, we forget about those lead sources and we try to focus on, hey, we're focusing on for sale by owners, we're focusing on expireds, we're focusing on the expired that popped up this morning, you know, that 100 agents called. And we're leaving these other lead sources behind because we think, hey, they don't want to sell their house. You know, I think it's a mental thing. It's all in your head. It's all mindset.
I love that. If somebody's trying to rent a property, go through, like, there's a whole bunch of ads on Craigslist, and yes, some of them are agents or through agencies. You're going to skip those. Yeah. But there are many owners who try to rent. Why not just approach them and says, can I help you rent it out? And if things don't work out, have you thought about selling? Yeah. Be helpful first. Don't go for the listing first. Be cool and helpful. And then if they change their mind or they're sick and tired of being a landlord, property's getting damaged, people don't pay on time, you would be surprised. Many sellers will say, you know what, fuck it, let's just get rid of this. This is really too much work. I'm not happy. Help me out. But you position yourself as helpful first. You help them pre-screen the tenants. You can help them with credit reports. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. Now do this with the staff because you can get overwhelmed very quickly running errands and being an admin board for some landlord. But it can be a good source of listings. That's a great idea, Jason. I love that very much.
There's 4 rent owners in my market. The thing is, like, they're going to rent it out more than likely before I even get to talk to the guy. Our rental market's on fire. which I think a lot of the country is. So me getting that listing right now or even helping them rent that out is probably not going to happen. But if I can make contact with them, talk to them, hey, have you thought about selling it, build a little bit of rapport, email my marketing package over to them so they know about me, my company, what we do to sell homes, that can follow up with them for the next 6 to 12 months, offering useful information. We know if they rent that house in May, chances are that house is going to have a lease ending next May. So, and if they have a tenant problem in between, that may speed up a decision to get it on the market and sell, So lots of times you're following up waiting on the tenant to have a problem, or you're following up waiting on a tenant's lease to end, So in agents, I don't even think agents go after those. I don't think I ever hardly have any competition in my market when I follow those. And they're like come list me type deals.
Yeah.
Follow it up when so long they know you. Sure.
Good ideas. Natasha says, do you ever email them your marketing plan? And when do you do that? Like when you're following up before your listing appointment, does the seller get a copy of your marketing plan in advance? I did. My pre-listing package would include a copy of my marketing plan. So I don't have to spend a lot of time explaining. Yeah. And also I want to impress the seller in advance and show them how much work I put into marketing the listing. What about you, Jason? How do you do that?
Oh yeah, I mean, mine I'm the same way. My pre-listing package actually includes my marketing plan. Yeah, that's my pre-listing package is the service I offer, and it tells all about service I offer. And man, I try to give it to every single person that I talk to about selling a house.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do it is just say, hey, Borino, look, I want to send you some information about me and my team. That way you know who's coming to your house. You have your email address. I get your email address. And 9 out of 10, don't even hesitate. I would never mail it unless that was an absolute last resort.
Yeah. Hey, Jason, for some reason, I'm just getting notes that your audio is breaking up.
Yeah.
Would you restart? Is it possible? For some reason, people are saying your audio is no bueno.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, give it a try. See if you can come back.
Yeah.
All right? I'll be here.
What part should we restart?
Just log out if you can and come back. Let's try that. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll wait for Jason. Sorry about that. Like I said, we're testing it. I'm not breaking anything. Guys, am I doing all right? I'm doing okay. I'm not doing anything. So let's take, there's a whole bunch of good questions. Appreciate those, guys. All right, Jason is back.
Hey, is that better?
Oh, that's much better, yes.
Okay.
Much better. All right. Where do you get your leads right now? Where is the bulk of your business coming from right now, Jason?
Oh, man, I'm using like several different sources. I'll tell you, I like Red X. I like the for sale owners. I like the expireds. I like the for rent owners. I think I'm subscribed to everything Red X that they have, and I use that service. I've been using them for like 10 years. I've been using that, and I've been using ZBuyer. And ZBuyer is a little bit different service. It's a network of We Buy Houses type websites, and that's where the leads are coming from. And if you tell them I sent you, they give you 20% off. But other than that, I call them Craigslist every single day. My new one I've been using a lot is Facebook groups. Like I've got a lot of groups that I just go down through every single day, the bigger ones. While I'm doing nothing, I just scroll through them. And I've gotten some deals off Facebook groups. Best leads probably are when I'm driving around to listing appointments. I'll leave a little bit early, cut through the neighborhood, and looking for sale by owner signs. Honestly, those are the best ones, man. It's hard to outsource that process. You know what I mean? They're kind of, you find them by chance, but I do not pass one by without stopping it right down the number.
And so really, you stop right away? Do you just take the information or actually talk to the seller?
Man, if I got time, I'll pull up in their front yard, call them, and sit in their front yard while I talk to them. I mean, hey, I'm here in front of your house now.
Oh, and, he's in front of our house. Honey, he's right there.
Yeah, that's him sitting out there in the car. Yeah, so I will sit in their front yard and call them right then. But sometimes if I don't have time, if my schedule's kind of pressing, I write down their their name, I write down their information on the sign, write down the address, some details about the house, and then I call them. Hey, I just stopped at your house. I've seen this and that. And the thing is, if you're doing that around listing appointments you're already going to, you already have the comps with you. Oh. So it's not like a big deal to stop and intelligently talk to them about their house, Yeah. So every now and then I'll end up going to one listing appointment, and then I get another one on the way back home. All my leads go into a sales process. It's not like I'm not calling people and they're going, "Hey, Jason, please come list my house." I'm building trust with them. Everybody goes into the same process, and when I have problems with that process, the process gets changed a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent stuff. Good. People are loving this. This is excellent. I have for a rent by owner that listed their house and make me move other day. And I have an appointment for them Monday, says Patrick. Way to go, Patrick. Look at you. Doing it out there. Hustling. Absolutely fantastic. Victoria really liked the idea of RedX. It's a great system. You can try it for free for those of you guys if you want. Go to Rockstars. There's a certificate. You can take it for a spin, see if you like it. It's in the files. Ken says his first listing years ago was a short sale, and he loves working pre-foreclosures, which is fantastic. All right, guys. My next idea I wanted to give you is use this. If you have a hard time getting listings and you have a little bit of a budget, send this guy out. This is a simple, I have a buyer letter. Now, yes, you have to have a buyer for a certain neighborhood, but don't overthink it. You don't want to lie. That's not the idea. So if you do an open house and you get a couple of people and you tell them, what if I could find you a house that's not even on the market yet? Would you consider at least taking a look at it? What do you think the buyers would say? Of course they would. Why not? They would be curious. There'd be no competition for them. So you're going to send them this letter. It's a simple letter describing you working with somebody. You're not promising they're going to buy their house because you really don't know. You're just saying, I have these buyers. We're looking for a home. If you thought about selling without going through a lengthy listing process, why not just let's talk. Let's initiate a conversation because it's all you want. Just to have a chat with them. Yes, you can have a copy of this. Yes, I will post it when we wrap up. I'll post it on Rockstars. You can download it, customize it, send it out. What I would do, or the way I used to do this, is I would pull from my title company a list of, let's say, 1,000 homes that fit the criteria, meaning homeowners, they've been there for more than 5 years, and I would send these out personalized. So it would have their name on it. It would look more personal, like I'm sending it to that person. Blast these out. And see what happens. And then, of course, not everybody will be rated either way, but you may get calls like people would be curious. What are the homes going for and how long does it take to sell? You want to initiate that conversation. So send the I have a buyer letter out. I'm going to give it to you. All right. Do you ever do any direct mail, Jason, to generate? Do you ever do?
I don't do a lot of direct mail. Sometimes when I have those leads I got like a certain little area that I like a niche that I really like. And when I can't get the person on the phone, or maybe I talk to them on the phone and they don't want to meet with me or something, I go ahead and send out my pre-listing package. But I don't do a lot of mail in my market. I found in my market, and it could be my negative attitude towards it, but it's hard to cut through the clutter sometimes with mail. So it's got to be something. It's got to be something special with a call to action, like what you just showed us, like that buyer letter. In my market, everybody seems to be. I've showed up at expired listings and random stuff where they've got 25 market reports, sitting on their bar or their kitchen that agents have sent them. So I don't do a lot of mail in my area.
Cool. I
mostly follow up. I seen there was one question asking if I had a set it and forget it follow-up system. I don't have a canned follow-up system for anything. I believe that as agents we're using too many canned follow-up systems. Everybody's sticking everybody in the same follow-up campaign. Yeah. And basically what ends up happening is those emails get flagged in Gmail and then they never get seen again. They go to everybody's spam. And as agents, we're the only people that check our spam folders, I believe.
Right, yeah. That's
we're hoping there's an offer or something in there.
Well, one thing I can't stand is the actual term drip campaign. You know what I mean? I hate that. I hate drip campaigns. You don't want to drip on your clients. Anything. I just don't like it. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
There is a place for something that can be automated. Like certain pieces of your follow-up should be automated. But where the real magic happens is that personal touch you add to it. When you text something personal, when you call, when you have a conversation. Yes, it's good to have your name in front of the people as part of the system that you have in place through whatever platform you use. But you got to insert yourself into that process where it's not templated, automated. But you know when things are automated, when you're getting messages or emails or follow-up from a company or a service where it's automated. We're all the same. You can tell right away, oh, this has been sent to 20,000 agents, and I'm just one of them. And you can also tell when somebody took a second to write you something. So the ideal follow-up sequence would be a little bit of everything. But where the real magic happens is if you and I can have a conversation. If you can ask a few questions, or if you, even better, let the prospect ask you questions, where they come to you for advice, for answers, because now they're perceiving you as the advisor, as their guide, rather than a salesperson that they have to be leery of and they have to defend from. Very different approach, very different positioning. Make sense? All right. Oh, Raymond has a good question for you, Jason. What does your daily schedule look like from wake up to lay down? I feel like there's where my struggling as a new agent. Walk us through your day.
Man, my day is a little crazy because I do write books, I do YouTube videos, I do some training stuff for agents. So I'll give you kind of my typical day. I usually get up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I try to be at my office by like 6:45, by 7 for sure. But typically I get up, I get some coffee, eat breakfast, that sort of thing, get to the office about 6:45. Usually I'll work on some stuff that I want to work on when I first get there. Like usually it's YouTube videos, training. It's the book that I just finished that's coming out on Monday. It's so about 8:15, I'm usually on the phone, right about 8:15. I'd like to tell you guys at 8, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm usually a little late. So about 8, I'm calling in on what I have going on. Usually 10:30, 11, I'll typically stop doing that. I do some paperwork or whatever I need to do, try to get ready for any appointments. I try to go eat lunch every day at 12 o'clock. It gives me like a break in my schedule, and it gives me that point where I know that I'm going to get like a little bit of a break in my day. I try to schedule all my appointments for the afternoon. And if I don't have any appointments, typically I come back to my office. I work on something else I need to do. I should be working on paperwork, That's my big issue always is paperwork, to be honest with you. But typically the afternoons, if I don't have an appointment, I'll come back to my office and either I work on something else that I need to do, or I look for an appointment. So my day doesn't stop at 12, 1 o'clock if I don't have an appointment.
That's very cool. Do you have an assistant?
No, actually I need one. I've been looking for one. I've had, the most effective assistant I've personally had has been when I've hired part-time people. Mm-hmm. When I've hired part-time people for a specific task, and then typically if it's a marketing task, if I feel like I got to do a flyer or something special, I outsource all that stuff to like Fiverr or Upwork or something like that. Yeah. It's just cheaper, and then you have somebody with that skill set that knows how to do it. Right. So I'm looking for a new assistant right now just to handle paperwork and stuff like that for me.
Mm-hmm. My next idea I wanted to give you guys is number one source of listings has been continuous and consistently. Are referrals. 42% of the listings this year will be referrals. Always has been the biggest chunk of business. Work your sphere of influence. Come up with a simple plan. Don't improvise. Don't just shoot from the hip, but have a simple approach where your sphere, and it can be a couple hundred people, that's all we really need. They know who you are. They know what you do. They know how to get in touch with you, and that you can be trusted that you're competent enough to take care of people. Do you work your sphere, Jason? Do you have like a basic plan that includes your sphere and getting referrals?
You know what? I do a lot of Facebook messaging to my sphere. I just, hey, how you been? Stuff like that. The ones that I'm in a big second home market, so tip people out. Here, depending on our situation, I try to stay in contact with them. The ones that I really got along with, the ones I really hit it off, I try to stay in contact with them. And I'll tell you what, I have some great past clients. I mean, I have one or two that refer me out to people all the time. I got a couple that I've done multiple transactions for. The ones that the ones I really, really keep in touch with, Borino, the most are the ones that are connected to a lot of other people. Like, I've got 2 different clients that it just so happens both of them own these little tiny convenience stores that are out in the middle of nowhere. And those are the people I try to call them once a month, just say, hey, how are you doing? Man, they refer me to people like crazy because these are basically just little tiny convenience stores. So everybody stops by there to get a drink or get gas or whatever it is. And I've got one that I bet has referred me $1 million of business in the last year. And the other one, I sold their house, and they referred me to other people that's probably another $500,000. So just from those 2 referral sources, I've gotten about $500,000 worth of listings in the last 12 months. But the ones that are coming in contact with a lot of people, those are the ones I really, really work on following up with the most.
Gotcha. Awesome. Question I see here from Pat. Where do you get your FSBOs other than driving around? Does RedX provide you with FSBOs? Do you get them from RedX? Pat?
Yes, actually, RedX, I subscribe to their for sale by owner program. I actually just got a text from RedX and told me from somebody there telling me that their sales team said that if somebody calls them, they're on this webinar, they tell them they're on the webinar with me and you, or they got it they call from this webinar, that if you subscribe to 2 services, they'll give you the dialer free for 30 days. But
I love when you guys take action.
Their for sale by owner service. Yeah, they messaged me and said, hey, tell everybody that if they subscribe to this, we'll give you the dialer for free for 30 days. I was like, okay. But yeah, you know what? I really like them because they aggregate them all, so all I got to do is open my laptop. Now, I still go down through Craigslist, and I'll tell you guys one of my secret sources. So hopefully nobody from Myrtle Beach is listening to this. One of the sources that nobody goes after is the Craigslist ads that do not have a phone number. If they don't have a phone number or a way to contact them, and you have to go through the Craigslist mail system, you hit the mail thing, say, hey, what's the best number to contact you? Ooh. Now, all of them won't email you back, but the ones that do, nobody's talked to them. So, the Zillow leads are the same way. If they don't have a phone number, those are the best ones because nobody's just messaging them going, hey, saw your house, Borino. What's the best number to contact you? And people just contact you. Sometimes they'll email me back and tell me when the best time to call is too.
That is awesome.
So that's like an excellent source.
Love that. And this is for sale by owners on Craigslist.
Yeah, for sale by owners. Yeah.
Brilliant. Where do you find the pre-foreclosures?
Craigslist.
Maria would like to know.
And those typically, you know what, pre-foreclosures, I do everything with RedX. I just think it's easy. But if you're not subscribing to like RedX for that sort of service, what they're doing is they're picking up the list pendants in your market and the foreclosure filing.
Gotcha. Okay, so use RedX. There are services you can subscribe just to get pre-foreclosures. Outstanding. Amardeep would like to know about your pre-listing package. Amardeep, here's the good news. You can get both my pre-listing package and Jason's pre-listing package. Am I right, Jason? You're still giving it away? I think we lost Jason again. I'm telling you, this service, we need to work out the kinks. So thanks for bearing with us. So you can get both. I think Jason is still giving away. You're still giving away your pre-listing package, right?
Yeah. Jason Morris prelistingpackage.com. You get it there for free.
Go download it. You can have mine. I don't have a fancy URL for it. I have to post it on Rockstars, but I'll do that. So get both. Put yours together. Don't overthink it. Make it simple, but make it impressive. Use it. Absolutely. Great question, Amardeep.
You don't have a 50-page one. Yeah, some of these agents have like 50-page ones,
Yeah. I think that's an overkill. I don't think you really need that, but you need something more than just a business card to establish your expertise and your positioning. I think that's great. All right. Victoria loves the RedX. She's using it. Absolutely awesome. And Samantha's recommending IMAP or Realist. Fantastic. When you contact Fizzballs on Craigslist, do you identify yourself as an agent? Pam would like to know. Of course you do. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to pretend to be a seller. You're having a pleasant conversation. If they absolutely hate real estate agents, if they absolutely don't want to work with a real estate agent, if they despise you, there's no magic formula or a secret language you can use to suddenly convert them. Some will be nice, some will not. Some will be friendly and will need your help or have questions for you. Some you can put you on follow-ups how you want. It's all right, but you have to keep going because some are looking for an agent, either right now or down the road. So simply approach them, be friendly, be cool, offer advice, tips, help. You're going to get them, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't try to be misleading at all. It's about building trust.
Yeah. Jason, Paul would like to get, hey, Mr. Paul Rollo, good to have you, my good man. Paul is crushing it, became my student, bought a boat, bought a car, bought all kinds of fun stuff, fun stories, which is really fun. Would you please give away the address, or I can just type it on the screen to get the pre-listing package?
Yeah, Jason Morris pre-listing package.
Jason Morris pre-listing package.com. And if I spelled it wrong, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. I am not the world's best speller, as you already know. Some of my blatant typos and my butchering of English language is legendary. Right. Did I get it right, Jason?
That's right.
All right, cool. So yeah, go get it. Mine will be posted on Rockstars after we finish. I'll post
I already have
download it. There's even a little video how to put it together. So get it. Awesome. Donna is enjoying it, saying hello. Donna Paul. So we answered that. Awesome. So let's go to the next tip I have for you guys. And that is, don't let your emotions control your income. Do not let your emotions control your income. And what I mean by that is this. I get an email. Borino, this system doesn't work. I deal with a lot of rejections. People are angry at me. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like cold calling. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. Nobody cares how you feel. Your bank account doesn't care. Your family doesn't care. Your future doesn't care. Your ideal lifestyle doesn't give a shit how you feel. You got to shut that bullshit off. You got to start analyzing, is this profitable? Will this help people? Will I make money doing this? Is this the most productive thing I got to be doing right now? Not how I feel about it. Change how you feel about it. This market does require a little tougher skin. There will be some rejection, but there's rejection in any type of business. If you think that there is some other magical source of income that you construct how much money you're going to make and then just go there, you're sadly mistaken. It doesn't work that way. There is always a price you're going to pay, and one of the prices you're going to pay is discomfort. There will be some level of discomfort. Now, I'm not talking about torturing yourself. I'm not talking about having people abuse you. You don't need to do any of that. But there'll be a certain level where you have to stretch your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Because at the beginning, as you're getting the hang of it, you remember my story, my first expired listing. I was stuck in a fucking car for over 20 minutes. I couldn't get out. And I was nervous and my hands were shaking and I was uncomfortable. And I was scared whether people will be angry with me, whether they're going to yell at me. Now, none of them happened, but in my head. But I also knew if I don't get over it, it's over. I'm going to get some boring 9-to-5 job, and I'm going to get some schmuck decide how much money I'm going to make, what am I going to work on, how many hours, and I'm going to trade 5 days of working for 2 days of freedom. That didn't appeal to me. So I'd rather put up with some discomfort, with some emotions that I have to deal with. But as you go through this, as you become better and better and better, you're going to learn how to master two things: your communication, so that the people respond better to you, number one, and number two, how you feel. Your emotions will be in check. Here's why. If you have 3 listing appointments line up this week, and 2 go really well. You score some really nice 2 listings. You're going to help these people. They're cool. The third one turns out to be a totally arrogant asshole. All you got to do is say, you know what? I don't think we're going to work together. I don't think our personalities match. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. Shake their hand and walk out. If that's the only listing you have, only listing appointment you have that month, your attitude will be very different. So it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. You got to have the pipeline full of good prospects. Goes back to the systems, goes back to the plan, everything we've talked about so far. Because if one out of a few is really nasty, really angry, you don't have to put up with that. The only reason you put up with that is because of the scarcity, because it's the only one you're dealing with. So you got to bump up the numbers, bump up the plan, bump up your effort, and bump up your action. Because you guys who just took action, jumped on, and we're not here to sell you on Red X, believe me, that was not our intention, but it's a tool that Jason uses and recommends. So if you jumped on it and got it, awesome. If you jump on, get my FIS Borino plan, awesome. It's a great program. It will help you get more FIS. That's all fantastic. But even if you don't, all that stuff we talked about today can help you and will help you. But it's going to come down to you taking even imperfect action. Because as you're twiddling there with pre-listing packages, and as you're twiddling there with follow-ups, and as you're fucking around with all these little details, there's tons of business passing you by. And your procrastination is not a need for being perfect. You will not be perfect for a long time, if ever. I've been at this for many, many years. I'm still far away from perfect. Jason will probably confirm that. Your avoidance is the avoidance of stretching the comfort zone, getting out of your comfort zone. That's all it is. So you got to drop that. You got to do some soul searching and say, okay, from now on, some changes will need to be made. Because in this market, you cannot survive on the same old, same old. It's not going to work. And you already know that. That's why you guys are here. Jason, you want to add anything to it?
Man, that's it. You know, taking I've done that template for my pre-listing package. It's basic, but you know what? It works. It's actually the same one I use just with my stuff filled in. And a lot of agents will do exactly like you said. They'll fuck around with a pre-listing package. They feel like they got to look up comps before they got to call somebody. And hey, just because that for sale by owner or that expired's asking $200,000 for it, that doesn't really mean that's what they'll take. You know what I mean? I've called for sale by owners that were asking $200,000, and then after I met with them, we ended up putting it on the market for $150,000. You know, so I mean, it happens. Yeah, they put that on Craigslist as their, that's their dream number, and then when you talk with them and you really got it down to it, But I've seen agents that wouldn't call that person. They'd say, "Oh, because they want too much. They want too much. We're not going to call them." But I see agents too, Borino. I don't know another word for this other than stuck up. They have no business going on, right? They have no business, but they don't want to go list the house that's $50,000 because they say, "Oh, it's below the price range I work in. I don't work in that price range." Or, and it's like they go, "Oh, I only want to sell $500,000 homes," but they have zero business going on today. They have zero listings, zero buyers in their pipeline, zero sellers, and they pass up business. Yeah. I see a lot of funky things, and I have people message me some weird shit, that it's all in their head,
Yeah,
they're working to avoid work.
And that's just an avoidance. That's all it is. Ray has a very good question. Welcome, Mr. Ray. He would like to know, attempting to get in contact with expired listings. I've been trying to get in person, not having much luck getting phone numbers. And I'm having very little luck with either getting them to answer the door or simply nobody being home. When do you think is a good time to prospect? I don't want to be a pushy salesperson showing about the family time. Really good question, Raymond. First of all, kudos for hustling out there, working the expireds. I'll give you a couple of things that will help you. If it's hard for you to reach that expired listing, it is hard for everybody, which is really good news because this will eliminate most of the competition you have. It's not that big to begin with. Yes, there are other agents going after expireds, but not a huge group and not very competent either. There are probably one or two really good agents. The rest is just noise. So now, if you can't get the phone number, that's still a good lead. You can still convert them. Go there in person. What if they're not home? Maybe they are, they just don't want to open the door. We live in times where, personal security, safety, people are concerned. Strangers knocking on the door. It's not like 15, 20 years ago. You remember the days when people would just come and visit you out of nowhere, like your friends or family would stop by on Sunday afternoon and you'd be happy to see them? That doesn't work anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. We live in the different times. So you go there in person, you knock on the door. When is the good time to go? Here is my recommendation, but this is something you need to experiment because different areas, you have different socioeconomic groups, different work habits, different family setups. So you got to try it. You got to test it. But here's where I would start. Go there very early. Start early. Now, you not wanting to interrupt them during the dinner time, I understand where you're coming from. You don't want to irritate people, and I appreciate that. But here's the reality. If I interrupt them during the dinner time, about something that really matters to them, about something that's really important to them, like moving, getting a good price, finding a good agent, living somewhere else. If they have this big problem that I know I can solve, And I don't really care whether I'm going to interrupt them or not. It's just like people ask me, well, what's the best time to call? When are people not angry? There is no such time. I pissed people off at 7 in the morning. I pissed people off at noon. And I got yelled at 8 o'clock at night. There is no perfect time. So you don't look at it from that perspective. What you want to look at is from a perspective of what's my best opportunity to have a meaningful, connected conversation with these people. And I can tell you from my experience, early in the morning, late in the afternoon, and early on the weekend. Those were my windows. Saturday morning from about 9 o'clock to about noon was perfect. And if they were in the middle of dinner, I would say, I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize. I don't like being bothered during dinner either. But I understand you tried to sell your house and it didn't happen. I'm really sorry about that. Why don't we meet together for a few minutes just to chat? Not to list, not to pressure or anything. Let's just get to know each other real quick. I have some questions, and I'm sure you have some questions. Because if the dream to live somewhere else, to sell the house, if you still have it, if that's still a possibility, I don't think it's fair just because another agent didn't get their job done, you're going to get stuck here. That's all I would do. And I'm not attached to how they're going to react because I already established a conversation and a connection. So maybe they're interested, maybe they're not. We're going to explore that. Maybe we can build relationship, maybe we can't. But I can give it my best shot. So I will not filter it by when will I annoy them the least. I would look at it from a perspective of what's my best chance to get in the door and talk to these people so that I can help them. Because my general mindset is they need my help. Because in spite of the fact that there are 1.3 million or God knows how many real estate agents in America, most of them don't know what they're doing. Most of them are not competent. Most of them are not. My general attitude when I met with the seller was I'm the best thing that happened to them. And yes, you can say it's arrogant. And yes, I know I'm not the best agent in the world. I understand that. But deep in my heart, I believe that I'm good for them, that I'm glad I had a chance to help them, and sometimes in spite of them. Different mindset. Start with that. Then suddenly it's just a matter of finding those windows to reach these people, to communicate with them, to follow up with them. Now, what if you can't reach them? You still follow up with them. You still have some kind of method of communicating with them if you can. That includes mail, email, video, visits, text, all these channels. The more of them you have open, the better. Yeah? Was it helpful?
I like Sunday afternoons.
Do you?
Yeah, I like Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good time to call if you can't get people on the phone. Stop by, whatever you're doing. Everybody seems to be home getting ready for the week to start.
Yeah, and it's a good time to chat.
That's
with them.
my market.
You don't need to bash them over the head with sales scripts. That's really where people get upset. Because it is not really the fact that you stop by or talk to them. Most people don't resent that. We don't mind that. You know what they really resent? When an agent shows up with a script from 1987 that they recite verbatim, insult the intelligence of the seller, and act like a schmuck salesperson, pushy salesperson. That's what pisses them off. Not the fact that you stop by, not the fact that you want to talk to them. You genuinely want to help. They don't really would get pissed off over that. What people don't like is being pushed and manipulated and closed. That's really what they resent, not a conversation with a decent human being. We get people knock on my door. We live in a neighborhood that's kind of secluded. But occasionally somebody stops by. Even if I'm not interested, I don't mind talking to them. I actually praise them for being out there and hustling. You will find something really interesting. Most of the nasty conversations, most of the rude people are in your head. They're in your mind. Because once you get out there and you do this in big volume, you will realize that most people are actually pretty nice. And I'm sure, Jason, that's your experience. That has been your experience as well.
Oh, yeah. Most people are pretty nice to me. I mean, I think I'm on year 13, and in 13 years, I remember maybe like, I mean, you get that just like having a regular job. If you worked at McDonald's, you'd have more people getting mad at you than that.
Yes,
you know?
that is true. I was telling you the story, guys, the other day on the live where this young girl, checkout girl at our grocery store got yelled at and she was crying. And
yeah.
Checkout girl making what, $14 an hour?
Yeah,
so
that's
if
right.
You're going to make $5,000 a pop. Yeah, you're going to have some thick skin. You can handle a little bit of a pressure, you know.
Oh yeah. If you want to pay me enough, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me. I'm okay with it.
I'm with you on that. Andy would like to know: can you share some of the ways to convert FSBOs and expireds? Andy, well, that would be like a week-long class. I mean, it requires a few steps. That's why Jason and I teach you how to do that. I have the Borino and the Expired Plus, where I walk you through it step by step. If you don't have it, you should have it. If you have it, you should just follow it. And Jason has the group of real estate agents that really work, which is great. You have, what, 12,000 people there now?
Oh yeah, man! It just crossed 12,000 people yesterday.
It is an awesome group, very active, lots of good tips and advice.
So,
But to give you a simple, kind of a quick 10,000 foot walk through how to get it done. Start with, where do I get these people? How do I get them? For sole by owners, you heard what Jason was saying. Driving by, Craigslist, subscribe to services like Red As Espresso Agent will get you for sole by owners as well. So that's one. You need to have a source. Step two, you need to have an approach. One of the things you got to work on and you got to master, you got to be really good at, is your first impression. The first communication you have between you and the prospect. How you come across, because that will impact how you're perceived. Just another needy agent, somebody cool and helpful. So you got to work on that. That means you get your dialogues down, not memorizing scripts. That's not what we're talking here, but being confident, communicating with confidence, knowing what you're talking about. Then you're going to have a little bit of a marketing that you need to back that up with, like the expired package, the pre-listing package that Jason was talking about. Then you need to have some follow-up, because most of these conversions don't happen on the very first contact when you knock on the expired door or you have a chat or email exchange with the for sale by owner. There's usually a little bit of a time, a little bit of a window where you're developing connection and trust with them. So for that, you're going to need some basic follow-up in place. System and then materials that they go out. Don't rely just on mail. It breaks my heart to see an agent working their ass off, getting leads, and then hoping they just push a button and magically those leads will turn into appointments and listings. You need to be active participant. We talked about it earlier. Jason mentioned it. I was talking about it. And then you just keep going. First contact every day, following up every day, having conversations every day, and then knowing that sooner or later many of these will turn into good clients, good listings. That, in a nutshell, is the process. Jason, anything you want to add to that?
oh man, I think probably the best way for me is you got to do the initial call. You got to follow up. I mean, after you get the lead, I think that the simplest 10,000 foot answer I can give is follow up. I mean, my average listing probably takes me 8 to 10, 12 calls before I get the first appointment. I mean,
8 to 12 calls.
It's not
that's
immediate.
In a span of how many weeks? What would you say?
You know what? Some of them you call and get appointment on the first call, but typically 8 to 12 calls, and depends on how many times I actually talk to them. Mm-hmm. But I'd say at a minimum 4 or 5. Sometimes that's in a week. You know, like I'm pretty diligent. You know, especially if it's in. I got this little area I really like, and man, if it falls in that little area, that price range, which is the price range that really sells, I'm all over them. I don't let go of them. Yeah. And follow up is the key for me. I'll list more properties than you because I follow up more. Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick agrees. Patrick says, yeah, if they answer the door, you're not annoying them. It was that important to them. They just won't answer the door. Exactly. And you just have to keep going. If they don't answer the door, I would leave a little note. Keep following up. I would go back. Keep following up. Don't give up so easily, because that's what so many agents do. They send one letter or stop by once or make one phone call. More persistency. This market, the spring market, requires your A game in terms of persistency, in terms of mastering the first communication. Because if at the beginning they don't connect with you, they don't like you, there's not much you can do during the follow-up to fix that. If you come across as too strong, too aggressive, too pushy, and you may not be that, but they just perceive you that way, or too low, too needy, too like me, you're going to have a hard time. And no amount of good follow-up can fix that. So work on that first. Then the follow-up is essential, obviously, but it has to follow that good, strong, nice first impression. Good stuff. All right. Great question from Jason to Jason. As a successful agent, what is your self-talk and mindset? What does Jason say to Jason about what he's an agent and why people want to work with him? Where do you get your confidence to sell 80 homes a year? Outstanding question. How would you answer that, Jason?
Man, it builds over time. Once you start getting that one listing a week and you realize that, it's not a lot more work to get that 2 listings or 3 listings a week, But for me, I personally believe that I am your best if you want to sell a house that's in the Myrtle Beach market, I believe that I'm your best option. Now, if you're just starting out and you're trying to build confidence and trying to get to that level, I think the best way to do it is role playing with a partner. And then, well, I think you need a system. I think you need to get a system like Borino or something like that. But I think you get a system. I think you role play with a partner. You and that system that you get, you need to blindly follow and stick to it. You know. But role playing and then actually doing, you know, you're going to get more comfortable as you go. You're going to get more confident as you go. You know, have your pre-listing package. That way you don't have to memorize a bunch of stuff or a 2-hour marketing presentation or something like that. And but as far as self-talk, man, I have bad days just like everybody else. And for me, like I do a lot of self-help stuff. You know, I really like Tony Robbins. I really like Brendon Burchard. I've got a list of them that I regularly listen to. And a lot of my morning routine is actually, you know, hey, when I'm doing other things, you know, I got some YouTube video playing that's something positive that's usually some sort of self-help something.
Yeah.
But and I think that's something you constantly have to do. The days where you feel like you don't need it are the days you need it the most sometimes, you know.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. You know what we're going to do, Jason? There is so much we can cover and there is so much we can share. I would like to do just a session on FSBOs with you. I think that would be really cool. I think you have so much insight and so many cool ideas. I would love to do that in the future. What do you guys think? Should we set that up? Because I see like Pete has a fantastic request. Could you please role play knocking at the door of FSBO you saw Stop to Meet? Unfortunately, we are running out of time, so we won't have time to do that. But I will get Jason on again, and we will just talk about FSBOs in detail, role play some follow-up calls, role play the initial contact. Would that be cool? You guys would enjoy that? Yeah, bunch of love. A lot of people like that. So we'll do that. Anything we're going to wrap up with? Anything to close it up? Oh, one more thing I wanted to give you guys. This is my last idea I wanted to share with you, and that's this.
Man, this kid.
This is called the Day on Fire. You asked me about a perfect day. This is the checklist for your perfect day. If you just follow this every day, you're going to crush it. But you have to follow it daily, diligently. It's called Day on Fire. It lists all the most important, most profitable things, MPTs, that you need to focus on every day. I'll post it on Rockstars. You're welcome to download it. I'll give Jason a copy. You can post it in his group if you want. Just put this on your schedule. Where am I going to do all these? And go do it. You do this daily, you're going to have a really good year. Yeah? All right. Some of you guys are using it already, right? My bootcamp students, you're going to be using it or you are using it. So that's my little gift to you guys. Okay. So now, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for allowing us to test this platform. My verdict is that it's shitty. It's no good because it freezes up a lot. And we are on strong connection here. I have a FIS hardwired directly to my router, so the problem is not on our end. But it needs some work, so we're going to test something else because I'd love for you guys to be part of these conversations of the people that I bring on so we can interact and we can ask questions. You can ask questions and we can make it live and fun rather than some kind of stiff web presentation. So that's where we are. Thank you so much for being here. Jason, man, I know you're super busy, so to take 1 hour bite out of your busy schedule, I know you're booked more than United flight. That was a bad joke. So for you to spend time with us, I really appreciate it. The rest of you guys, I appreciate hanging out. Have a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, we'll do it again. I love chatting with you as always, man. I really appreciate it. So we'll do that again. Real Estate Rockstars, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful Friday. Have a terrific weekend. We'll talk all real soon. Borino signing off. Let's go get him. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, man.